The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome to something new. As we talked about last week in weekly purchases, we got a little bit of a change of format on the channel, as on Saturdays now we're going to do a toy news video, all of the toy news for the whole week. Sunday we'll have the weekly purchases for the whole week, and of course Friday you got the figure hunt video, so a little bit of weekend fun, 3 videos like clockwork, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll see how this goes. We can always go back if people don't like it, but I did run a poll on my YouTube community panel page, and then I also asked you guys in the weekly purchases. Some of you guys said, hey, keep it how it is, but overwhelmingly the majority did say, hey, split the videos up, and I get that. Not everybody has time to sit for an hour and watch a whole video, so maybe a half hour to 45-minute news video, half hour to 45-minute weekly purchase video. Have them separate, gives you something to do. You can go at your own pace. As I always will say, Patreon, of course, early videos for you Patreon supporters. You'll still get both videos on Friday night, so you can check those out. But regular YouTube, you get it on Saturday, you'll get it on Sunday, at least going forward. Like I said, we can always change. You never know. We'll see what happens. But this is going to be the video of the week where we recap all the action figure news that I'm interested in, and you guys hopefully are as well. We'll also have album of the week in this one. And then the other video, being weekly purchases, will be weekly purchases and recap of the week that was on the channel. So appreciate your guys' support on both ends. Like I said, Patreon, you can get both of them on Friday if you really want to. Whatever you want to do. And of course, Patreon, the best way to support the channel. We know right now at Patreon, we do got October giveaways. So if you guys are interested, over on Patreon, this is one giveaway. You got He-Man and Skeletor, the deluxe versions. You can give those away to one Patreon winner, and then the other Patreon winner will get a double dose of Halloween Rey Mysterio goodness with the greatest hits, Day of the Dead, and then the old Starburst color Macho Man version of Rey Mysterio. One winner will get these. So choose your own adventure, whatever you're into, but that's the Patreon giveaway, a little housekeeping there. Other piece of housekeeping this week here on the channel is Pro Wrestling Tees. We all know Pro Wrestling Tees. Hit up the old store. Kyle Peterson, of course, pick up a t-shirt. But we do have 20% off going on right now for this weekend. Use discount code THANKYOU, to save yourself 20%. And I always say, if you're not going to buy my shirt, go get yourself a Terry Funk shirt. Go get yourself a Road Warrior shirt, Demolition, something. If you're not going to buy mine, get one of those. That's always a good recommendation. But of course, they do sales like this around Thanksgiving, around the holidays. But I would say if you're really wanting these and you're getting them for the holidays and stuff, now is the time, because they always get swamped around Thanksgiving, and there's no guarantee you're going to get them in time for Christmas. So this is the time to support the channel or support Terry Funk. Oh, the legend, the legend. But always a good time to get some shirts. Got to get a deal. We always say it no matter where it is. You're a fool if you can't get a discount. That's what I say. But there it is, Pro Wrestling Tees, little housekeeping there. Now let's dive into the toy news this week, and we're going to start off with wrestling because Thursday came in hot with some wrestling announcements. The Elite Squad back in the saddle again like a young Aerosmith, and they got Johnny Gargano back on the team, so I found that to be kind of funny. He was away, now he's back again. And of course the Mattel crew as well, and they had a YouTube video making some announcements. There was a Mattel gallery on the WWE.com, pretty much how they usually do stuff, and I got a couple of highlights here to cover over. Nothing really new, broken on that video, nothing that really changed anybody's lives. A lot of stuff we knew that was coming, but they did show some beautiful glamour shots and beautiful in-package glamour shots of Elite 98, and we know when we see those in-package glamour shots, we're just a couple of weeks away from Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. Getting those in stock, and then you're about, I don't know, 2 to 3 months, depending on your store, from it hitting retail. So things are coming quick with Elite 98. And this is quite the set. And this could be the very last Elite set of 2022. And as you guys know here on the channel, the end of the year, November, December, we do a ton of top 5, ton of top 10 best of year-end award lists. We will be doing that on the channel as well. I'm getting my list together of what I think we got like 14 maybe best of videos to do. So that's kind of going to carry us out November, December. There's going to be a lot of those, maybe even 2 a week some weeks. So stay tuned for those. Subscribe to the channel, all that kind of fun stuff. But Elite 98 looks extremely strong. Looks like a great set. I'm always excited for figures. You guys know that. But this one looks really good. Old Rick Boogs finally getting his first time in the line. I've been a long time Rick Boogs guy. Way back when he started in developmental, there was a video he posted of himself in the gym playing, I think it was Judas Priest. I'm pretty sure it was Judas Priest. He was doing squats. He stole my heart like a young Rio and never let go at that point on. Speaking of Judas Priest, I'll be seeing them in concert, I think, in 2 weeks, so stay tuned for that. But Elite 98, Rick Boogs, he is the Chase, which I found a little interesting to see him as the Chase. It just seemed kind of strange a first time in the line. We do see that from time to time in top picks, but we don't see that in the Elite line very often. But man, I'm all in on this Rick Boogs. He very well could be a top 10 figure of the year for me. He comes with a guitar, kind of a flying V style. He comes with the heavy metal hands. He comes with the suspenders. He's got a little of that technology we've seen with Seth Rollins and The Undertaker. We'll see how that goes. That's been a little suspect. But man, he looks cool. I'm excited. I'm more excited for the non-Chase version, actually. I think that one looks a little bit better. Interesting outfit for Rick Boogs, but you got to stand out. We know how that goes. But he is going to be the Chase there. We are getting Big E. Big E, no stranger to the Elite line, and we just got a Big E. We just unboxed on the channel, and then we got a Royal Rumble Elite earlier this year. So a little bit of Big E overload, but that's to be expected because you guys know they make figures 8 months to a year out. Well, 8 months to a year ago, Big E was riding hard as the champion. He was all over the place, so they're catching up to that. So we're going to get a little bit of Big E's going on, which isn't a bad thing. We also got Randy Orton, his return to the Elite line. Really paint by numbers Randy Orton. It'll be interesting how he fares. He very well could be the weak link of the set for me, but you can put him with the Matt Riddles, of course, get RK Bro riding again, but a lot of paint by numbers on that Randy Orton figure. One of my girlfriends from wrestling, of course, Mandy Rose, right behind Maurice and possibly Penelope Ford. We've got Mandy Rose right in there. I do prefer my blondes, though. I prefer Mandy Rose in the blonde hairdo. But looking good. She's got her angel wings or whatever you want to call those there. She is a female figure, of course, in the line here. We get the legendary Ron Simmons as Farouk. A deep, deep cut, but going to go great with that new generation ring we all got. So that'll be interesting to see how Farouk is in hand. He does have the 2 different heads with the 2 different helmets, so you can really choose your own helmet adventure. Thought that was interesting. And then you guys know I'm a sucker for somebody in face paint. We got Finn Balor as the Demon. I believe that's from that weird match with Roman Reigns where like the rope broke. Very, very strange match that was. But we are getting the Demon there. So some exciting stuff from Elite 98. We also saw 11/11 Make-A-Wish. 11/11, I think at 11 a.m., depending on where you live. But we are getting the Coliseum Collection Ultimate Edition Terry Funk and Hulk Hogan. Some might call it the Terry 2-pack. That is going on Mattel Creations. Man, I'm excited for this one. I've heard that it's going to be a little higher numbers than the Zeus Rip 2-pack. I don't think we'll have a lot of problems getting this one if you want it, but I would be on there when it goes live to make sure you get it because, you know, Hulk Hogan, he sells big time. Terry Funk's somewhere in the middle. He is a top one for me. He's tippy top for me. I need that Terry Funk, so I'm excited. I'm looking at 3 or 4 of these packs for me. Obviously, I'm going to buy 2, play a little of that long game on the third one. I need 1 min unbox, 1 to open, and then I need at least 1 extra Terry Funk because I need an extra head display to do the differences there. Not a ton of meat on the bone for Terry Funk. Obviously, I can see that being a disappointment for a lot of collectors, and I totally understand that. We'll talk about it when we do unboxing on the channel. The Hogan is amazing. Man, it makes me feel like a kid again with that Hogan, so very, very cool. That one coming out. Like I said, 11/11 is the pre-order. MattelCreations.com. Be there or be square, as some might say. Moving on, the other thing they showed of a little bit of interest was Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar 2-pack with kids title belt. Man, this really hit me in the old Jax days. That's what it felt like. It felt like one of these old Jax Toys R Us belt packs we used to get all the time. Very, very cool for kids out there. I know if I was 5 or 6 years old, I'd absolutely love to get the belt and 2 main event player figures. That's the perfect gift for a little kid. I do like that they're doing that because it's not all about the adult collectors. It's about the kids, the future generations. That's what it's going to be. The ones that think of Rick Boogs like I think of Terry Funk. That's what we need. We need those kind of kids playing. But we do see that coming. Some more wrestling news this week. Ringside Collectibles in stock right now. The Sting AEW Deluxe ring. Is anybody ringed out yet? I think there's a lot of us ringed out right now. I might play a little of that long game on that Sting ring. I really do need it. You guys know I love me some Sting. So I do need that, but gosh, it's not high on my priority list, but I will be picking that one up. We also know from Ringside Collectibles, Jungle Boy finally came in stock. Of course, the last Unrivaled set, he was missing for whatever reason. Now he is there. Got to complete the collection. Got to get Jungle Boy. Might be the perfect 1-2 punch, getting the Sting in the ring and the Jungle Boy. We'll see if I do that, but I will do it eventually. I need both of those, especially Jungle Boy, in the collection, so FYI on that one. There's a few other interesting notes in the wrestling arena this week, and it's not AEW, and it's not WWE Mattel. It is Wrestling Trader. I guess we'll start there. Of course, Cella, we mentioned it a couple of weeks back that all wasn't smelling right in the Cella world. It seemed like there were some hiccups and things going on. Nobody was quite sure. Well, it sounds like Wrestling Trader is buying Cella, the assets, buying everything. So it looks like Wrestling Trader is going to take over. Hopefully we get our Al Snow, Giant Haystack, some of that kind of stuff fairly soon. We'll see what happens there. What that means for the future and the hundreds of figures they've shown us pictures for is still to come, I guess. But we do know a few of those things hopefully will be shipping fairly soon. Where's that Dynamite Kid Uncensored? I think that was the line called Uncensored. Hopefully all that stuff comes fairly soon, because nobody likes people sitting on their money. Nobody likes people sitting on their money when you're uncertain if it will ever come to you. So that's an interesting one. So Cella Toys, we'll see where that all shakes out. But Wrestling Trader hopefully will get this completed. Hopefully everything will be right. Then we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Much more to come on that one. An interesting one that came out of left field, old Hassel Toys. We've all known that place. It's on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Hassel Toys putting his toes into the retro arena. I don't know. Is that a dangerous tool? I really do feel there is retro figure burnout. When you got the Cella Toys, the Rush Collectibles, obviously Mattel, Zombie Sailor, Hassel Toys, then customizers. There's so much retro madness. Has the retro boom hit, or is it lifted? I think it really has. I don't feel the groundswell of support. I don't hear people screaming about retros like they were just a couple years back. But Hassel Toy getting involved here, and he's getting a retro Godfather figure, which is interesting, especially Attitude fans there. It's funny that they call him Smoke Train Charles Wright. That's a way to dance around that IP, but you look at this, it's Godfather all day. So very interesting. Of course, it is the kind of paint by numbers. Once again, blueprints for these is what was shown. We see these from all these companies. That's kind of the same style they show these in, which I guess makes sense, keeps it uniform. But that is coming, Charles Wright, and it's not a bad idea. I think I can see this one selling. We'll see where it ends up going. It's just how much can he get the word out? Obviously, he is a toy store. It's a little different than the Mattels. Even, it's very similar to Zombie Sailor, but Zombie Sailor has a much larger vocal presence on social media. I think I would say that. So we'll see. We'll see how this one goes, but I'm definitely interested, and I'm always about supporting the little guys out there, so it should be a good one to get. We'll see how the Godfather pairs up with some of these other ones. You guys know I'll be all in on that one. So we do have that. Power Town, we haven't talked about them in a while, but if you're on the fence, you got till Halloween 10/31 to get your order in on Power Town Series 1. You also have, that's the last day for the HasLab Ghost Rider. Doesn't look like that's going to have any hope of hitting, which is good for some because you'll save money in your wallet, but it's also bad, like I've said the last few weeks, about people just actively rooting against it. If you don't like it, move on. That's just kind of the way I think about it, but that isn't going to happen, unfortunately. But Power Town, that's the last day. If you want Series 1 Power Town, man, get in there and get that one because it looks like an awesome set. We'll see what happens come January or so when they're reviewed here at the table. I'm very excited to see how that goes. Last week, we talked about the Asylum toy store. They are making Road Warriors, very He-Man inspired, WWE Superstars, Master of WWE Universe, whatever you want to call them, inspired bodies. And man, they showed off Hawk. They showed off the packaging. Ooh boy, this thing looks pretty awesome. They are saying there's going to be more outside of the Legion of Doom Road Warriors, so I'm anxious to see who else they have here, but the Road Warriors, a definite pickup for me. Have to get that day one pre-order all day long. Looks really, really good. So that's kind of the wrestling news this week. An interesting week for wrestling news. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. We got to think with the holidays approaching, things are going to slow down a little bit in the news department. It'll be interesting to see how that ends up shaking out. We got a little business talk, a little business hat a little bit at the end of this video we're going to have to touch base on as well. But let's keep going through some of the new stuff we saw this week. How about NECA toys? NECA, a favorite here on the channel. We got some good unboxings coming this week. Being at Halloween week, the build up to Halloween, got some Halloween themed unboxings. Got my dad over here for 2 videos. Some of you Patreon members have seen some of those already. But we got some good videos here for Halloween, so stay tuned to that. But for Halloween, NECA is giving us 31 days of announcements, showing us packaging, new figures, things like that. And this week was no different. An interesting one in the Toonie Terrors line, we're getting Svengoolie. That's pretty cool. Give me an Ultimate Svengoolie as well while we're at it. That probably could happen. But Svengoolie, of course, has his show on MeTV, the favorite show of my dad. So my dad will definitely be in on this Svengoolie figure. I'll have to track one of those down for him. But very cool Svengoolie to get a figure. I think he had a... gosh, I want to say it was Mego, but I don't know. It was Mego style, but who made that? Maybe it was Mego. No, it was FTC, Figure Toy Company. They're Mego style figures. They made a Svengoolie figure back in the day, but now it looks like NECA getting into there with that. I think that is really cool. Of course, he's kind of like a modern day Elvira, throwback to the old where he shows a horror movie, has jokes, bumpers, things like that. A lot of wrestling content on that for those that watch the show, but we are getting Svengoolie. And then one I'm really interested in is, looks like Misfits, Ultimate Misfits from NECA. I'm not exactly sure. They showed the little gravestone action. What's going to come with that? Not really sure. I'm not sure it's going to be Jerry and Glenn Danzig and stuff like that. I don't think we're getting those. I think we're going to get the Fiend, a different Fiend, guys. I think we'll get that in the Ultimate Edition. Now, we did get those from NECA before, more of the claw style clothed versions, I guess, in the red and the black. Maybe this will be an Ultimate one. But my ears are perked for that. I always love my heavy metal punk rock. Misfits, very iconic, of course. I'm very excited to check that one out. So more to come on that when we do know more on that. NECA also showed this week one I'm really excited for. This is supposed to be shipping, I think, before the year's end. So I guess we should be on the lookout. But Dracula. We got the packaging for Dracula. Ooh boy, this looks really, really good. Of course, we'll have a regular edition. We'll have a black and white edition. That's the way they're doing this whole line. We are getting his accessory set. We know all about that one coming as well. But I'm ready for Dracula. Packaging looks amazing. Just looks like an all-around amazing figure. Can't wait to see what NECA brings out with that one. So stay tuned for that one with pre-orders as well. We transitioned from NECA to Storm Collectibles, and we do know Big Bad Toy Store, link in the description below, they are kind of a United States, for at least you guys in the United States, that's the only place now to get Storm Collectibles, apparently. They came into some agreement there that Storm Collectibles will only be sold online via Big Bad Toy Store, and they did announce 2 new Golden Axe figures, and it looks like we're getting a 2-pack. It is Long Moan, a very funny name there, Long Moan, and Henninger, I probably butchered that name, but we're getting 2 of the ancillary bad guys from that set. So I'm excited. I'm all in on these Golden Axe figures. That was a childhood favorite game of mine. Have all the other ones. We've unboxed them on the channel. Gonna have to get this one as well. Looks really cool. So I'm excited for that one. And that's a big chunk of the news this week. And another big chunk of the news this week is, of course, Masters of the Universe. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe riding high at an all-time high right now, it really does feel like. And we got a few different things out of them this week. So first off, I want to talk about this one, a little bit of a head-scratcher here. It's on Mattel Creations right now. Fairly hefty price points at like $60 and $80. But we do have Skelegod, He-Man, Skeletor, and Battle Cat. But it's called the Virgil Abloh. I am not familiar with this artist at all, but he basically did some kind of interpretation, and they're saying it wasn't even him. I guess he died. I'm not sure what the story is on this one. I do know that they are very expensive, fancy repaints, really, at the end of the day. They almost look like Easter candy, like an Easter bunny that you would eat. I mean, they look really good. I really like the looks of them. I would not be opposed to having these in my collection, or at least He-Man and Skeletor. But with all the He-Man stuff we're going to talk about here in a second going on right now, there's nobody that has the budget for these. Unless He-Man is your only collection, I could see you maybe having money for this one. But I don't know. I just think it's bad news for Mattel when you're releasing something like this as some of this other stuff. You got to kind of read the room a little bit. Why don't you save this for Easter or something? Make it different at a different time than everything else is going up for sale, because there's a lot of Master stuff hitting the market right now, and you're going to see a lot of that in tomorrow's weekly purchases video. Stay tuned for that cheap plug. But that is coming. I'd be interested to hear if any of you guys are picking those up. Like I said, I think they look pretty good. They're artsy. I get all that. They look cool, but I don't know if they're $60 and $80 cool. That's the thing. And with everybody else spending a lot on Masters right now, really a tough pill to swallow. But sound off in the comments below. I'd love to hear some of your guys' interpretation of some of that. The other big one we saw this week as new released and a little bit more detail, things like that, is the Battle Cat from Mondo. We talked about it last week in the toy news that this is coming the very end of the month. It is going up for pre-order. And once again, I said, man, why would they do that with Eternia looming, all that kind of stuff, making the fan base be split or just piling on their credit card debt? One or the other, I'm not sure. But very, very difficult decision. But there could be an argument made that, hey, Origins is for, obviously it's for collectors, but it's also for the kids too, where Mondo is very high-end collectors. not for everybody. Not for everybody on the Mondo stuff. And I've been trying to stay out of the Mondo stuff. And now I'm almost wishing I would have stayed out of the Mondo stuff because they got a lot of stuff to come, including Panther in the future, it sounds like. But anyways, they do announce that it's going to be a 2-week pre-order window where they've done 24 hours and I think 48 hours in the past. This one you're getting 2 weeks for, which is smart, because I always thought Mondo with their 1 days and stuff doesn't make sense. I really think you should have a 1 month pre-order for everything, even Mondo. This should be 4 weeks instead of 2, because, you know, people got to pay their mortgage, they got to pay that stuff, and they get paid, most people get paid twice a month. Let it fit into one of those just to be safe, and you'll probably get more sales out of it too. What's it hurt to go another 2 weeks? But anyways, it's only going to be a 2-week order. And that's just the way it's going to be. Or actually, it's going to be a 1-week order, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm mixed up. I think it's a 1-week order, which is crazy itself. But if it's 1 week, 2 week, whatever it is, it's too long. Or it's too short. It's too short. It needs to be longer. But it is what it is. That is their business model. And Battle Cat is $500. Now, it does come with a lot of bells and whistles. Obviously, the saddle. Obviously, the great detail. Extra heads. A small cringer. Just really, really cool. And they are going to re-release He-Man, a little bit of stripped-down version with He-Man that you can also pre-order if you missed that one. Man, expensive times. But this Battle Cat, truly next level. 18 inches long, 12 inches tall. This is a big, big boy. Very, very cool, though. Very, very cool. I'm going to have to get it. I'm going to have to figure something out. I might have to sell a kidney. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to have to do, but I'm going to find a way. And I've already found a way to back Eternia, the Mattel Creations Origins, of course, deluxe playset that is up for the crowdfunding right now. We're a couple weeks into it. I think it's the start of like second week. Of course, if you wanted King Grayskull, you've missed the boat on that. That was a big part of the push, I guess, for week 1. And of course, as you guys probably know by now, it was funded. It's already went up to 8,000. They've got that Modi. That's his name, I guess. That's what the internet is calling him. So we have Modi unlocked now. Now we just got to get Keklar. Hopefully I said that right. Don't want to offend that guy. But we need to get to 10,000 to get him. I talked when this was first announced. My gut said 10 to 11,000 backers is what we got. I think November 9th is the end, so we got a couple of weeks still to go. I do think, and I don't know, but I think they're usually at the end, the big bad toy stores, you know, the big online retailers and overseas collectors and the overseas numbers and overseas toy stores, I think that goes into it at the very end. So I think there'll be a big upswing of those orders as well. So I do think it'll net out at 10 and 11,000. It could come up a little short, but that was my gut reaction. A lot of people told me I was absolutely crazy, but we're headed there. We're over 8,000 now, so it wouldn't shock me to see them hit 10,000. I don't think they'll go much over that, but somewhere between 10 and 11,000 is my prediction. Put your prediction in the comments down below. But it does look good. It is a big one. It's making a lot of us say, where are we going to put this thing? And I always say, that's a problem for future Kyle. Future Kyle can worry about that. That's kind of the way it's going there. But man, Eternia is really cool. If you're a Masters Universe fan, you're living in golden times between the kids show, the CGI show, the Masterverse line, the Origins line, the Mondo line, and everything points in between. There is a heck of a lot going on right now if you're a Masters Universe fan. So there's that. So that's a little Masters Universe talk. How about a little Hasbro talk? Hasbro came in this week. They did announce another Reaver. We are getting Pretty Boy. That looks pretty cool. I don't think they announced how you were going to get it. I don't know if it's a Fan Central exclusive or if it's going to be one in the future. I'm not exactly sure on that much, but Pretty Boy is going to help build out that Reaver shelf if you're working on one of those. I think that is really cool. And then they did announce one that really made me scratch my head a little bit this week was War Machine. Well, we just unboxed War Machine on the channel on the old school carding art, and that is, of course, a repaint of the War Machine deluxe figure from a couple of years ago. Well, now we're getting War Machine. I guess this is the Capcom War Machine. But it's pretty much, I wouldn't even say it's pretty much. It is a 100% Iron Man repaint. And that's kind of what we're getting from Hasbro right now in the Marvel Legends line. This one is a little bit, it doesn't really excite me, at least right now. I don't know about you guys. I'm not super excited about this War Machine figure. I like War Machine. He's one of my favorites as far as the Iron Man group of characters. But it just feels like too many War Machines at once. I don't know. For whatever reason, I will buy this, of course. I will buy. I'm nuts. I got to be a completionist. I'm all in. It's still a good figure. I do like the Iron Man that has it before. But this might be one of those ones you play a little of that long game. Maybe you wait a little bit. Maybe you get a deal. There's a coupon. Maybe you use a GameStop coupon. That's my plan with this one. I'll pay for it. I just like to get a couple dollars off is what I'd like to get on this War Machine. So that's my plan. I guess we'd call it a little bit of long game there on the old War Machine. So we'll see how that nets out. You guys let me know your thoughts. Are you picking that one up? playing the long game, you guys let me know. And then the last bit of news here I have about Hasbro, let's put a little business hat talk on. Of course, there was a lot of news articles this week about Hasbro. Hasbro profit misses the mark as toy maker faces high inventory and inflation. Hasbro reported Q3 earnings that missed expectation revenue. CEO Chris Cox, old Chris Cox, pointed to increasing price sensitivity among customers. Well, duh, guess what? Every company, I don't care if we're talking groceries, we're talking toys, they're going to tell you that same thing. It says the toy giant has raised prices this year as inflation soared to 4-decade highs. Once again, that's everywhere. That's everywhere. Now, I will say Hasbro, and I enjoy the most of Hasbro stuff, and I understand a lot of the inflation. I'm not saying that you guys don't understand the inflation, but I understand what all goes into it. And it's really easy to say these big companies, oh, they got money, they're just screwing the little guy. Sure, that happens. I don't think it's happening right here. The cost of fuel, transportation, plastics, all that stuff, it takes into this. And then the big one that a lot of people don't understand is it is so hard to get work for. So all of a sudden, guess what? You need 10 more employees. You can't find these employees. My company right now, and a lot of companies like mine, we're giving bonuses. We're giving all this stuff to try to get people into the workforce because guess what? People don't want to do the jobs of old. That's just the way it goes. So what do? You're 15 people short at this plant, 20 people short at this plant. Well, the people you have right there, they got to work more hours. What do when they work more hours? They get overtime. There's overtime. There's things like that. It's just, there's a lot that goes into it. And I know some people's going to say, well, it's a factory in China. Maybe they don't have overtime. Maybe they don't, but the people in America do. The people working on the docks, they do. The truck drivers that there's a shortage of, guess what? They charge extra because it's a load off demand, things like that. There's so much that goes into everything, and every company is facing a lot of this kind of stuff. There's one thing I can tell you across the board from what I deal with every single day, day in, day out. Units are down. Units are way down, but dollars are up because of inflation, taking pricing. We've taken pricing on things, and that's across the board. Units are down, prices are up. It looks really good in the wallet department, but you need the units to match. You don't need them 100% even, but you need them pretty close, and that's not going on. And I think next year is going to be a very difficult year in 2023 because there's going to be some crazy overlaps that just aren't going to be able to be met with the price increases, things like that. I don't see units diving really high, especially in toys. Units aren't going to go up in toys because, hey, guess what? Groceries are going up. I've talked about this for years, literally the last couple of years here on the channel. Another big price increase here coming right now in the next couple of weeks in the grocery world. It's just the way it is. It is the way of the world. And guess what? Groceries are bought at a heck of a lot larger rate than toys. I think we'd all agree on that. Everybody's got to eat. Not everybody needs a toy. And I was even shocked this week to see Magic the Gathering is Hasbro has one $1 billion brand. I was kind of shocked about that. That just seems crazy to me. I know my company, we have multiple $1 billion brands, and I guess it's just not apples to oranges, but I don't know. When you try to compare everything, it's just caught me strange. I don't know. But next year's going to be really, really tough. And here's my guess, and I've been saying this for like a year from now, is we know the COVID demands aren't there. Go to any Target or Walmart. Supply, demand. There is not a lot of demand. There is a lot of supply. That's where we're seeing. And once again, I'm Kyle Nostradamus. I predicted this. I said, hey, all this fall stuff is going to go to clearance really quick. They're going to have to move through a lot of that stuff because stuff isn't selling like it used to because they got tons of stuff coming for Christmas. We're seeing that. We're seeing stores putting stuff to clearance. Basically, it's been on the pegs for a week. Just absolutely wild. That new Sammy Guevara, a Target exclusive, down to $10.99 in a lot of stores. He's just started hitting, but they're trying to move through product to get ready for Christmas. Now, that's not good. Nobody wants that. Target doesn't want that. Hasbro, in this example, does not want that. Mattel, Jazzworks, whoever we're talking about. So what's going to happen next year? Well, guess what? Those buyers at Target, those buyers at Walmart, whatever store we want to talk about, and then the Hasbro customer exec or whatever that sells to those companies, they're going to say, hey, guess what? We're seeing the demand slide. We don't want as much of your product. We don't want as much anymore. And what's going to happen is slowly, it's going to take some time. It might take till the end of 2024, but the whole world is going to reset in the action figure game. It's going to go back to how it was pre-COVID, where the shelves were bare a lot of time because they were trying to keep that really good because things weren't flying out the door. They wanted to keep it as tight as they could on inventory. Now, excess inventory. It's got to swing back the other way. It's going to get tough again because Target and Walmart, they're seeing this. They don't want these things going to clearance. Hey, we need to back off. We used to order, 1 million cases. I'm just throwing a number. 1 million cases of WWE Legends. Cut that in half. and that's what we're going to get, because it's not good to go to clearance for Mattel. It's not really good for Target either. I mean, Mattel's like, hey, if Target wants to eat the price and clearance it out, that's great for us. We already got our money up front. That's not going to go on forever. So it's not good for anybody to see clearance. You want to sell it, get in and out of it as fast as you can, move on to the next thing. You don't want things lingering, and that's where we're at right now. So a little business talk there, but a lot of people flipping out about Hasbro, but I think a lot of companies are in the same thing. Obviously, different stockholders, different shareholders, things like that have different demands, different means, and different things. But everybody's saying doom and gloom for Hasbro. I really don't see that. They've had some questionable decisions, of course, with movies and things like that, movie partnerships and things, but I think they'll be okay. They're just going to have to course correct, and I don't know. I don't see prices going back down like we've always said, or I've always said. Once prices go up, they rarely ever go down. You'll get some sales, things like that, but once they're up, they don't go back, and that's just the state of everything, be it groceries, be it toys. That being said, there's always deals to find. Target always has $100 off, or $25 off, you spend $100. They have things like that. There's always things you can do. GameStop, your $5 coupon every month. There's ways around things. Patience is a virtue. We all need a little bit more patience, myself included. You don't always have to get things right away. Imagine how much money I would have saved. I don't even want to imagine if I wouldn't have bought things right as they came out. If I would have waited, played a little that long game, thousands and thousands of dollars I would have saved this year, I'm sure. I'm sure I would have, but it is what it is. It's an interesting time across the board, as we know, and I like to talk toy news. I don't like to talk news of the world, but we know it's all kind of all cut together and all put together, so it's an interesting business hat time. We'll leave it at that. So there it is. That's the little Hasbro. That's where I'm ending here on weekly purchases. Of course, album of the week we'll close with an album of the week this week. A little bit of sad news this week for some of you longtime heavy metal fans, and long time being the last 20 years or so. Hopefully you guys have heard, the band The Sword. Now, they've been around since like 2002, maybe something like that. I remember getting out of, or being in college and being a big fan of these guys. I've seen it probably 15 times over the years. One of my favorite up-and-coming newer bands. And I always say anything 2000s above feels newer to me. But The Sword is a great one. Very Doom-inspired, especially Age of Winters. That's a good starting point. Check that one out. But a lot of really good, a lot of progressions throughout the years, a lot of changes to their sound, which did lose them a lot of fans. Myself, I wouldn't say that they never lost me as a fan, but they've definitely had some ebbs and flows on their albums. But Age of Winters is the one that kicked it off for me. An amazing masterpiece, one of the best albums of the last 25 years, very easily. But they've called it quits. They're hanging it up. They're not touring anymore. Like I said, I've seen them so many times, opening up for Clutch many a times on their own shows. Just going to be sad to see a band like that I really followed from infancy all the way to the end. That's just the way it goes. I guess nothing does last forever. But if you're a Sword fan, or if you've never checked out The Sword, you should listen to The Sword in honor of their retirement. And I'm sure they'll go off into other bands, solo careers, things like that always happens, as we know. So there it is. There is week one of the toy news for the week. I need a snazzy title for this. I don't know if any of you guys put it in the comments. What's a good title for this video every single week? Maybe we'll roll with something like that. But of course, weekly purchases will be tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel. You made it this far, you might as well. Hit the notification bell. You want to know when videos like this drop. And of course, like this video. It does help the channel. And we are at 21,000 subscribers. We did hit that. I got a few top 5s in the can. Will probably be like the first week in November. I will have a top 10, so stay tuned for that. And then we're going to have a lot of top 10s for the rest of the year. So be ready for all the greatness on Thursday, all the top 5, top 10 lists, a lot of that stuff to come. But make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff everybody else tells you to do. Don't forget about the Patreon. We talked about the giveaways for the month of October. Of course, it is the best way to support the channel. A lot of bonus content, a lot of early content over there on the Patreon. Don't forget about social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson, and then ProWrestlingTees.com. Thank you is the coupon code this weekend. Pick yourself up a shirt, save yourself 20%. Got to get a deal all day long. So you know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into the weekend. And I will see you guys all real soon.